What is going on, guys? My name is Cease. Welcome back to Feeds Mindset, episode number 35 with the man LoBeBallin. Lo, how are you, man? Welcome in.
What's up? What's up, Feeds? Thanks for having me on. Excited to talk to you today. I'm excited for what you have for me. Excited to answer some questions, maybe help some people along the way. But yeah, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, of course, man. I really do appreciate you being on here. It means a lot. One thing that I always bring up every single podcast, I always like to talk about my kind of friendship with the guest. Me and you are pretty random people, I would say. I don't really know you, which it's kind of weird, but I actually kind of like it that way. I feel like a lot of people is like very different about that, but I mean, we kind of already talked quite a bit off camera, but I love being able to kind of digest in people that I don't know and understand their backgrounds and pick their brain and stuff about some different tips and stuff that can just help creators of any size and anybody. So yeah, so, you know, before we kind of get into all the questions and everything, if you wouldn't mind, for anybody that's watching, just kind of give a little bit insight of who Lo is and, you know, where can they find you? You know, what do you do and what games you play?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my name's Logan, LoBeBallin on all socials. I live in the NorCal house. Pretty close friends with Mitch. Went to high school with him. We're on different grade levels, though. I was a senior when he was a freshman, but met him through the basketball program. But yeah, outside of gaming, I work at Fortinet. People get it confused with Fortnite. But yeah, it's a cybersecurity company. I do sales. I used to be an engineer, but yeah, I switched over to the sales side of things. But yeah, LoBeBallin on all socials and Streamhouse as well. I manage that with everyone here at the house as well.
Yeah, and dude, the Streamhouse streams are so fun to watch. I don't get a whole lot of time to watch them because you guys stream a little bit later when I go to like bed and stuff. But man, it's so fun to watch you guys and your reactions and the clips that you guys post. It's so funny, man. I love content. It's so sick.
Yeah, thank you. It means a lot. We're trying to do something different. So like the normal stream that you see, you normally have the one person playing. But yeah, we had a whole house playing. So we're trying to figure out how to incorporate everyone's point of view. Right now we have just the camera side of things through Discord, but yeah, we're trying to make it so it's going to be everyone's point of view. So say we're playing Search and Destroy and a person who's like doing the actual live stream, the main camera is dead. They can just rotate to everyone in the house's gameplay. So we're trying to fix some things, but it's definitely going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
Dude, your internet must be tanked having all that different setups and stuff.
You'd think, but it's actually pretty good. Yeah, Mitch got like a good fiber deal out here, so everyone can stream at the same time, which is good. But yeah, we're very lucky. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's awesome, and I'm definitely proud of you guys, and I'm excited to see what you guys have. Show up more, and maybe we'll see more of them on here. You know, maybe I can get some of them on the podcast too. That'll be sick.
Yeah, if you come out to the house and we have you in the podcast room,
yeah,
you can get there, you know,
I'd love that. That would be sick.
Good times.
Yeah, that would be sick. So you know, one thing that I do want to talk about before we get into anything is kind of the obvious elephant in the room, and it's your big old Pokemon background you got. So kind of take me through that, not like how it is right now, but take me through like how that even begun, how that was even a thing.
Whole story. So Pokemon was actually the first game I got into. It was a Game Boy game when I was younger, big card game. People play it competitively. I just liked the cards in the game. So every Pokemon I collected in the game, I wanted the card. So I had a big binder full of holographics as a kid. And funny story, I stored it away in my closet. It was there forever. I went off to college, came back knowing how much they were worth at the time. And my mom's like, hey, I cleaned out your closet. And I was like, oh no. So I went and looked, and the only thing gone was my binder. And everything else was there.
Wow.
So it was kind of rough. But yeah, decades later go by, I'm here in the house, and I see Pokemon's kind of booming again, and I wanted to get back into it. So I started buying and flipping cards, and then met a distributor online, kind of similar to what you do here, meeting creators. I started reaching out to Pokemon content creators, and I met a guy who would help me out and meet a disty. So I got close with him, and he was sending me boxes for pretty cheap, and I started flipping boxes. So I got pretty involved with Pokemon, and then the whole card scene. I used to go to card shows, and I was trying to sell my brother's pretty high valued baseball cards at the time. And I met a card grading company, became very close with them, and they're like, hey, you have your cards. I know you said you're a Pokemon creator. We don't grade Pokemon yet, but if you wait like 3 months, we'll be ready for Pokemon, and we'll give you a good deal to grade through us. So became close with them, and I was their first guy to get Pokemon graded
Aw,
through their company, and now
that's
they're
sick.
doing like last time he told me he was doing like 12,000 cards a month. So they've
Yeah.
expanded pretty good. But it's kind of what you're doing here. It's all about networking, and that's how you get into spaces. But yeah, I've been into Pokemon since I was little and just always loved it. So
Yeah, I mean that's really sick and unique, and I don't really think there's a lot of people that have the setup that you do and stuff. Because I mean, you see them all the time. A bunch of people doing card
mhm.
openings, and the TikToks lives is where I see them a lot, which is cool. I like them. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I love watching them. It's so fun to see what they pull. But I feel like you specifically is a little bit more unique because you took it as a networking aspect, and I don't really feel
Yeah.
like that's very commonly done in that type of scene. Would you agree?
Yeah, very, very uncommon. But yeah, I've met a lot of cool people through cards. Like you'll never it's like this space. Like you never know who
Hmm.
you're gonna meet, what their story is. But yeah, through the grading card company, I met like the top baseball card selling people in the area. Figured out how much they do through eBay every year or month. It was wild. And then found out how much auctions take. So you start figuring out where you can sell your stuff or network to get boxes pretty quickly. And then, funny enough, I ran into another big Pokemon collector out here. His name's Lord Rush. He's a content creator, but he also owns a card shop here in
Hmm.
our area. So met him, became pretty close with him, and he's like, "Hey, I know you guys are a gaming team because we told him about the NorCal house and the story. We showed him the podcast room. He goes, "Would you be comfortable with me having special guests over at your podcast room?" Like, yeah, who'd you have in mind? And he goes, "Oh, yeah, from cards, I'm pretty close with Steve Aoki, so I might ask him." I'm like, "Really? You're gonna invite Steve Aoki over to the house?" Doubt maybe it will happen. I don't know, but
Yeah.
that's the person he said. But yeah, it's funny. You never know who you're gonna run into or meet in whatever space. But networking's the key for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's really sick, and that's awesome. And I mean, I've definitely not went to any extent that you have, but you know, from I've probably bought like maybe like 10 boxes in my lifetime, not a whole lot, and it's just so fun being able to look and just see what you pull and stuff. And I feel like from an outside perspective, especially people that's not kind of in that scene, like really kind of look down on it, like, oh, that's dumb, like it's some cards, but it can really make your day happy.
Oh yeah, it's always fun pulling the card or the hit card and then finding out how much it is. Like you'd be surprised. Like some of these cards go for a
Mhm.
house or a
Yeah.
car or something like that. Like some like I've told people this that the card market's doing better than the stock market right now. So
Yeah.
it's just funny. Um, but yeah, anyone that wants to get into space, you'll find out like ripping packs is just technically gambling. So good luck.
Yeah.
But more often than not, it's better to buy the card outright and then just grade it and flip it. That's the way I started, and it's worked for me. So
Yeah.
that's what I'd recommend if you want to get into the space.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a cool aspect to put on it because you're physical gambling, like it is still
Mhm.
gambling, but you get to kind of, you still don't get to determine the outcome, but you kind of feel like you have more of a play in it. And I feel
Yeah,
like it's definitely more rewarding because the only thing rewarding about gambling is just seeing how high the number is. And so I feel like
exactly.
with Pokemon, I feel like that's a more unique perspective because not only is it something that you care about, but it's also something that it's hot on the market.
Oh
So
yeah.
that could be really sick. So yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
also a cost too. Like every, I mean, you're buying boxes on boxes trying to get to that card you want, and next
mhm.
thing you know, you've spent like $300 on 2 boxes or 3 boxes, whatever the case may be, and you're like, oh crap, how do I get this back?
Yeah.
So the way I found best is your cards pay for your cards, unfortunately, but you always get those cards back if your heart's really on, like set on those cards. But like I always tell people, you'll get them back if you sell some cards that you have. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's sick. I've been a huge Pokemon fan, since I was a kid and stuff. Played, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, played
mhm,
Pokemon Red and Blue and Yellow and stuff, and those on the Game Boy, sitting in between the light and darkness of your front door,
those
and like,
ones.
trying, yeah, yeah, it's just trying to get the right angle on the Game Boy so you can see what you're playing. And
Yeah, those.
on the Nintendo Switch too, which I know is like a lot newer generation, but those were so fun to play, especially Pokemon Sword and Shield. Oh my god, I had a blast playing it, dude. Like that's something which I do this with a lot of, whether that be like my beatbox reactions or YouTube videos or even games that I play. Like I get upset that I wish I would have made content out of certain things rather than just play it. But at the same time, like I still kept the enjoyment out of it, so I'm not really like that upset about it. But I wish that I could forget Pokemon Sword and Shield and stream it and play it for the first time. Do Let's Plays on it. Stuff. Oh man, I miss it. It'd be
Hey, the
sick.
key is that you had fun with it. That's the
Yeah.
key.
Yeah, it definitely is. But yeah, so I just want to talk about that a little bit because that was kind of the elephant in the
Mhm.
room. And it's a
Oh yeah.
sequel that you got there. I'm sure that you're very proud of
Yeah, when I was making my room, I was like, Mitch, what do I do? I wanted
it.
a scenery where it's just like you walk in my room and it's just like, oh man, or like, oh wow. So I
Yeah.
have this here behind me, but I'm a big sports fan.
Hmm.
I'll turn it over here, but I have two kind of big autographs. It's kind of hard to see,
Nice.
but one of them is Michael Jordan and the other one is Kobe Bryant. So
Oh,
Michael
that's
Jordan's up
awesome.
top and then Kobe Bryant on the shoe.
Wow.
But yeah, when I used to play college basketball, those two guys would run their high school camps at our facilities. So I got
Hmm.
to go and meet those
Wow.
two, and I was like, okay, I got to get something signed by you guys because I got
Yeah.
to remember this forever too. So
Yeah. That's sick.
they're
And
they're nice enough to sign stuff.
yeah, that's sick. And I like your this isn't really a word, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Empatheticness. I know that's not really a word, but I like that behind it because you didn't see that as a monetary gain. You see that as that's your childhood, and I feel like that's something a lot of people have kind of lost nowadays. A lot of people just get caught up in the moment and what's hot and stuff, and they don't get the sentimental value of what they've
Mhm.
done. So I like that. I love that for you. That's really cool. So usually I do just kind of start back. My first question is usually about gaming, but which I'm not saying that this was before gaming, but clearly, you had your basketball career and all that. So I definitely want to hear about your gaming because I know that that's
Yep.
what transpired into gaming. So just however you want to, just kind of take me through that background and kind of tell me how that all became.
Yeah, I'll get into when I started getting into competitive games. Kind of, it's going to go back a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
I started really heavily getting into gaming when I was in middle school. I had a bunch of buddies that would hop on Xbox Live, and that was our thing. We'd hop into Xbox Party Chat. We all had our like Xbox Vision cameras. I know this is super old,
Mm-hmm.
and our game was Gears of War. It was a brand new game that
Really?
came out, third person shooter. It was really cool because you could chainsaw someone in half, and then when you shot someone with a sniper, their head would just explode and blood
Yeah.
would shoot out everywhere. It was something we hadn't seen before. But yeah, I made a team with my middle school friends, and we hopped on the game battle circuit and ended up doing really well. We were like top five of the ladder for the time, and we were playing some names at the time that are huge now. Like we were playing against Nick Merckx, Gold Glove, TV. We were playing against Like Butter Live, who does like cards now, who I
Mm.
talked to and now connected to back with cards. So it's kind of funny. It goes full
Yeah.
circle. Iceman 804, he was like one of the best snipers back then. But it's just kind of funny to kind of see those guys transpire now from when we were playing back when I was in middle school. But yeah, started there and then got heavily into COD after Gears of War. But then, like I said, I was a basketball player, so I kind of focused on that. So I
Mm.
stopped playing competitive games and focused on basketball. Went to school for basketball. Then the switch kind of happened back to gaming when I got hurt in basketball at college.
Mm.
So I'd fractured my ankle twice, had surgery on it, and then when I came back, I had separated my shoulder in a bicycle accident on
Oh,
campus. So that
bad
was kind of
luck
like
after
the
bad
end of
luck,
it.
huh?
Yeah, so I decided not to get surgery and rehab myself back to get on the court, but my coach was just like, it looks too bad for you to play.
Uh,
So shut down and then ended up getting back into competitive gaming because I was like, I still want to be competitive in some sort of way. It's just who I am. So started getting back into Rocket League was the game I chose. So
yeah.
it was funny. I had buddies playing it in college, and that was our game. We turned it into a drinking game some nights. It was super fun. But I found myself on an esports team and played competitive Rocket League.
Wow. That's
So
sick. So I want to touch base just a little bit on the switch that you made. Where you tore your broke your ankle twice, and then somehow got to another accident. That's very unfortunate. How let me figure out how to word this. How did you end up dealing with that at the time? I mean, that had to be a very tough
it
moment
was,
for you to
yeah,
to be to know that you have a certain set future in your brain of this is what I'm going to become, and now it's kind of torn away from you. So take me through that.
yeah, it's super emotional because that's what I worked my whole life for. Like every day I was shooting basketball, working my tail off to make it to where I made it. But yeah, when the day you're told that you kind of got to hang it up because of injuries was kind of unfortunate. Um, yeah, I took some time off for sure. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
get in a mental rut trying to figure out what your next steps are. So I decided to switch majors. I'd study computer science and wanted to learn all about how to build computers and networks and learn cybersecurity. So I tried to set myself up from like a future perspective instead of kind of dwell on what's happening, you know.
Right.
So I was looking at next steps instead of just kind of sitting in the past and
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
basketball. Yeah, it was just
Yeah,
kind of
no,
tough.
I definitely understand that. I mean, that's a very unique perspective to have, to be able to, because I mean, and that's a very common thing. A lot of people get wrapped up in the negatives. I don't know my next step. I don't know where I'm going and stuff. No matter how long you're dealing with it. And I just the podcast that I just had with Ace. We talked about that a ton, about how your past can definitely affect you, and things suck and don't turn out the way you want to. But at the end of the day, no matter what your intentions are, no matter what friends you have, whether you have nobody, regardless, you are still the only one that can make that change. You are the only one that can decide, do I sit down and stream for 3 hours? Do I take this 3 hours of my time and do I go check out somebody? Do I go watch a movie and just don't care? And it's like, it doesn't really matter how you play it out. But at the end of the day, if you want a future and you have a passion for something, you're the only one that can take you there. And if you just
Yeah.
rely on just somebody, a big raid or a clip hitting and going crazy or whatever, if you just rely on that stuff, when you get to where you want to be, you're going to be just as depressed and you're going to be just as sad, because when you hit 1 million subs on YouTube or you make tons of money or whatever, at the end of the day, you are going to have nobody to celebrate with, because all you're waiting is for that one shining moment, and it's not going to be as impactful when you make it. You're not going to be grateful for where you've came from.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, super emotional, but like you said, you gotta move forward. And the best thing and advice I have for people dealing with any of those situations where you're gonna dumps is just kind of rely on family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
Just go reach out to your family, spend time with them, take a break from a bunch of things, and stay close to a good group of people that will support you and help you push forward. Like having a small circle, I guess, of people that do the same things will push you forward.
Yeah, definitely. So, did you say when you had kind of developed the new mindset of this is where I'm going now? Did you say Rocket League was the game that kind of brought you back into
Yeah,
that?
back into competitive gaming and streaming. Yeah. So after
Mm-hmm.
basketball was done and I was studying computer science outside of school, I started doing streaming, and Rocket League was the game at the time. Yeah. So Rocket League competitive gaming. It was fun.
Yeah, that's cool. I've played tons of Rocket League. I've lost my skills now because I'm keyboard and mouse, and I don't know if you've ever tried
It's
to play.
tough.
It is ridiculously tough. It is the
Oh
most
yeah.
difficult thing I've ever had to do. Like, I'm not
Mhm.
even joking. It's awful. But I loved
Yeah.
Rocket League. It was so fun to be able, especially to watch the pros, and you'd sit there and you'd be like, "Oh, that's crazy," and then you'd like practice and train for a couple months, and then you're doing what they're doing. And you're like, "Oh my god!" Like, it's cool because I feel like Rocket League is kind of one of the few games where you can hone your skill and actually see it
Mhm.
improving. Because like
Oh yeah.
that title, it even ties into sports and stuff, is a little bit different because that's a physical factor and that's actual work. But with a game like Rocket League, it's all like, it's still technically physical, but it's just your movement and your coordination. And so I think it's a lot more unique, being able to develop a skill on a controller or a keyboard and mouse per se, because it has nothing to do with your mobility or your momentum or your breath or whatever. And Rocket League is definitely one of the smaller games that I could see that, like, I could see myself improving and be grateful for it.
Oh yeah, it's the most frustrating game because the littlest thing can throw off a shot or the way you want to hit it or set yourself up. But yeah, it's definitely a game sense and technique style game, and you can definitely see the more skilled players when you're playing. Like you can just tell who has put in a bunch of hours into Rocket League.
Yeah,
It's insane. Some people are just gross. They're
yeah,
gross.
definitely. So, going kind of not really like fast forwarding to now, but is your main game COD? Are you kind of variety, or what's your main game right now?
So it's funny. So some people in the house do like playing Rocket League, so I still play Rocket League.
Yeah.
But yeah, main game is for sure Call of Duty. Everyone in the
Hmm.
house. I think the one game everyone in the house plays together. So we kind of focus on Call of Duty together, and I don't know. It's kind of funny. All of our styles of Call of Duty are different. So it's like I used to be a competitive S&D player, and then everyone else in the house is kind of like a trick shotter or
Yeah.
a feed sniper, right?
Hmm.
It's something like that. So it's kind of funny seeing all of our styles mixed together, and then now we're kind of focusing on everyone's a trick shotter. So
Yeah. Well, I mean,
trying to
it's
figure
it's
something
kind of
out.
unique because at least you're not really taking away anything from anybody. Everybody kind of gets to keep that personable factor with them, which is
Mhm.
cool. So with the Call of Duty side, are you planning to try to still play competitively in that, or are you just kind of focusing more on content and trick shotting, or what do you
And
think?
more on the content side. So for people who don't know, we developed the Stream House brand as the NorCal House. We're kind
Links
of
down
trying to
below.
develop. Yeah, exactly. We've been trying to kind of develop that and trying to make a name for ourselves there as kind of a house brand outside of NorCal, even though it's kind of tied to NorCal
Mhm.
too. But right now, it's just been focused there on trick shotting and building content with the guys. We're trying to focus outside of gaming as well, so more IRL stuff to come.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a fun time. Really proud of these guys for working together, and I don't know, we've put a lot of clips together here in the last couple months that I have to go edit
Yeah.
soon. But
Yeah. I mean, it's
yeah, it's been a lot
cool,
of fun seeing analytics.
it's cool to see, you guys doing that and stuff. And that's, I mean, you've seen that done like a couple times around the house, but I've never seen a stream house kind of more like most times that you see that it's usually for a team. Like, yeah, like the stream house like
Mhm.
is a part of NorCal, but you guys represent it as this is us, not this is
Exactly.
NorCal, which is a very unique factor. And I
Mhm.
think I made a comment a little bit ago, like it would be really cool to see like if there's another stream house or like a team that had that, to see you guys like collab and like
Yeah,
do like a
battle
search
it
and
out.
destroy game or something. That'd be sick.
It'd be super fun. It'd be super fun. And that's what makes us unique too. Like we don't see a whole lot of people doing it. And for the houses that we did see come together, they normally failed and kind of collapsed, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
it takes a lot of work to get a house like all on the same page and working together because that's literally how this works. If one person's on the same page, this stuff crumbles pretty quickly. So
Hmm.
it's been nice to kind of just see everyone on the same page and things are starting to move and now everyone's excited about the analytics we're seeing. We're like, okay, when are we going to hit 250K views? When are we going to hit 1,000 subs? Like everyone's getting excited. So
Yeah. And I
it's
mean,
just fun.
it's definitely the perfect timing too, with the whole NorCal grind and for Rising
Mhm.
and for NorCal and stuff, because that gives you guys that awareness as well. And I think it's important because it's not in the factor of getting more views and more growth on that stuff, but
Mhm.
it's more so raising awareness because regardless how you feel about it, you have to develop a certain amount of respect for what you guys do, all you guys there, because that is a very difficult thing in so many ways, mainly financially. That's it's a
Mhm.
very difficult way, time schedules and work and all that stuff. And you can't help but be proud of just you guys doing that and the respect factor of having, being able to go and say, oh, I'm gonna go to work and I'm gonna go back to the stream house. Like, who can say that? Like, it's sick.
It's unique. It's super fun. Every day is new. But yeah, like you said, schedules are super tough. Like no, I don't think there might be one person in here that's a full-time content creator. Other than that, everyone's got an outside job. So it's really tough to get everyone on the same schedules. That's why we do stream pretty late. I mean, that's the only time all of us are together at the same time at the house trying to do something. So we're working on stuff maybe on the weekends where we can go earlier, but as of right now, I'll probably stick to late night
Yeah.
streams, unfortunately.
We need,
But
we need to see like stream house bowling or something. That'd be sick.
yeah, exactly. Us going out to some things would be a lot of fun. There's a bunch of things coming up in our area, so maybe we can go do like I know there's like a PGA mini putt type of course, so maybe we just go compete on mini golf or something.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Oh,
I
that'd
don't
be
know. There's a
funny.
lot of
So,
stuff to
somebody
do.
breaks a golf club.
Yeah,
That'd be
exactly.
funny. So for like, I know you have all the stream house stuff. Are you still going to kind of keep your personal stuff and still do your own streams, or are you trying to mainstream it into like this is us?
Good question. Good question. So I've thought about this a lot, and this is what I've kind of told everyone in the house is you kind of have to sacrifice your own brand to build the team brand, or so we say, or the house
Hmm.
brand. So I've decided to just kind of just forego my stuff and just go
Yeah.
focus on this. Like all my content's going to be on Streamhouse probably moving forward.
Well, that's sick. Yeah, I'm proud of you. That's a big decision to make, especially as a creator. I mean, not and I'm not trying to like make you emotional or anything, but it's kind of
Mhm.
cool because I mean you've already had kind of a rough instance with the basketball journey, and now you have your streaming and what you've created, and now you're also sacrificing this. But it's all things that you believe in, which is the most
Mhm.
important part of this for sure. But I'm definitely proud of you for that. Definitely, regardless how you want to view that, that's still a big decision to make.
Yeah, it's tough, but I believe in what we're doing, and it's a lot easier to go at it as a group. Like, I mean, you guys know as an individual content creator, it's a lot to manage. I mean, you got every single social media to manage. You have to edit your own videos. You have to schedule
Hmm.
your times. Like, you have a bunch of stuff to do. Whereas at the house, like I tried to develop roles. I'd be like, okay, I'll manage the YouTube stuff. You got the Instagram stuff. You got the
Hmm.
like Twitter stuff. I mean, everyone's got a certain role, and it makes life easier to just handle one thing instead of like 6 or 7 by yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would definitely fully agree. So we've talked a lot about gaming and the stream house and everything, and we've talked a bunch about streaming, but I don't think I've specifically covered how you got into streaming. So just kind of take me on that route of how you found streaming and how that kind of got into being, your niche of, I mean, you're doing it today.
Yeah, gotcha. So kind of funny story. After the injuries in basketball, I was at grad school and so funny, they canceled my grad program. So this is when I started studying computer science. I took another undergrad. But my roommate at the time, he started talking about streaming and I had seen people do it, but I had no idea how to set it up. I didn't have a gaming PC at the time. Like he helped me build everything. So yeah, he got me into Twitch. I made an account, figured out like a layout, had a buddy make graphics for me. I think my first layout I actually got off of Google was like I took some like frame border or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he showed me the way, got into Twitch, and he was like surprised. He's like, "You're actually getting a lot of views for how quickly you started out." I'd like, we had like 5 or 6 viewers at the time that I was keeping consistently
Yeah.
through Rocket League. He's like, "You need to start like pushing this." I was like, "Okay." So that's when I got into like a competitive Rocket League team and just started streaming after class all the time. Like every single break I had from studying, I was probably streaming.
Yeah, yeah, and that's kind of some of the best feelings too, to be able to just kind of do that just for a little bit. I mean, just having that small little window where you can do what you love, and if you have to go back to another class or your job or whatever, like I don't know, it's just something about that small window can really make somebody's day, do a 180.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I still talk to my first subscriber to this day. Like he,
Do you?
he actually just had a baby, so just I reached out to
Oh,
him and just congratulated him. But it's like it's really funny. Like you stay in contact with those people and make people's days. Like you said, it's just that's why we do it. Like the connection you have and meeting people and seeing their story. It's really cool.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree. And it's kind of weirdly enough, same thing with me. I still talk to my first subscriber.
Hmm.
Her name was Marby, and she lives in Canada. And I had met her on Call of Duty Ghosts. Actually, well, either that or Black Ops 2. I can't remember. And it was a team called XGN at the time, Exiled Gaming Network, and
Okay.
he was just a part of it. And that's how we connected. So
Heck
I
yeah.
still talk to her every now and then. Not a whole lot because she kind of moved past the gaming space. She does a bunch of like
Mm.
art and photo stuff, but I still talk to her. So it's
Heck
just
yeah.
kind of funny that you
It's
bring that
funny. Yeah. Shout out Uncle Stash. He's the man
up.
out there in
Big
Utah.
stash. So yeah,
Nice.
I mean,
Nice. Yeah.
so yeah, so we talked about gaming and streaming, and so another question that I asked, which kind of already tied into a little bit for my story, which I'll talk about in a second. But I like understanding where your name come from. So obviously you're a
Gotcha.
LoBeBallin. Of course, it has something to do with basketball.
Mm.
So take me behind that background of how you developed the name that your persona that you built just like everybody does.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, everyone would think it's from like a basketball side, which it kind of is. So Lo for Logan, that's my actual name, and then B Ballin. I played basketball, loved it growing up, pursued it till college. But funny enough, when I was in middle school playing Gears of War, there was a the best sniper at the time. His name was Iceman 804. His name's
Mhm.
Alec. Cool dude, super cool dude. But his YouTube name was White Boy Be Ballin'. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I was like, hey, I'm kind of the same thing. I play basketball. He played basketball. He's super tall. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna take part of that and put it with my real name. So that's where it came from.
Yeah,
It was
that's
from
sick.
his YouTube channel.
That's sick. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Are you still? It's kind of like a side question. Are you still able to play basketball, or do you have like limitations on what you can do?
Yeah, good question. My shoulder, it still looks weird. Like I'll show you later, but it's got a huge scar. It still looks popped out. But yeah, I actually can still play basketball, and funny enough, I can still shoot how I shot back in college. Like I still
Really?
can shoot it pretty well. Anyone that wants to play horse, I'll take you on. But
Got a gift,
yeah,
and it ain't going down the drain.
yeah, I can still play, but it was crazy. So when it happened and I went and saw the doctor, he was just like, I don't think you're gonna be able to play anything ever again. Like throw a football,
Mm.
throw a baseball, shoot a basketball. He goes, I don't think you're gonna be like mobile with your arm. And
Hmm.
but here we are today. Rehabbed
Yeah,
it back pretty well and I got full range of motion. It just looks a little weird.
yeah, that's sick. Yeah, that's awesome. So kind of not the same story for me, obviously, but with me, everybody knows me as Feeds, which is XD because Feeds taken everywhere except for Kick. Somehow I got it on Kick. That's it.
There you go.
But so back in 2004, I've said this story a bunch of times and I still forget. Back in 2014, my mom and dad had got me an Xbox 360 for my birthday, and I had two games. I had GTA 5, which I played like 3 or 4 months of online, and then I had Call of Duty Ghosts, and then a couple other games or whatever. Played GTA 5 a lot. That was the reason why I wanted Xbox Live to play on that and stuff. And so started playing on that, and one day I got really bored, and Call of Duty Ghosts is my favorite COD of all time. I love that game to death, and there's a specific mission where you're in a plane, and you've got him captured, and then the plane falls down, and you end up going in this, like, woodland, like, in the woods or whatever, and you're just, like, with a knife, and you're being really stealthy, killing a bunch of people. And I just loved playing that scene over and over and over. So one day, got bored, loaded it up, went to play it, and I noticed that the multiplayer section was lit up. I was like, that's weird. Like, what is that? And I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about sniping, FaZe Clan, or any of this. I had no idea. I was 14 at the time, back in 2014. My age falls along with the year, which is weird. So
easy to follow.
Yeah. So got that, played COD Ghost for like well over a year-ish, and I was still somehow playing it in 2016. It was still a pretty popular game. So I played it for a couple years, and back in 2016, I was in a search and rescue game. Fun fact, I actually originally was never a fan of search and destroy. I still don't really like it that much nowadays, but search and rescue was just the funnest thing, in my opinion, of all time. Being able to dolphin dive on a tag to revive somebody, like, oh man, it'd give me goosebumps. It sounds like the most fucking nerdiest thing that I can say. But I love playing search and rescue, so I'd play that all the time. And one day there was this little group called XG, and they was playing in the game, and we beat them, whatever. And so they invited me to a private match. I was like, oh, like maybe they want a 1v1. At the time, I was like a little cocky sniper, same thing like with you in basketball. Like anybody can still get it. I don't care,
Yep.
And they was like, hey, listen, this is our team. This is what we do. We want to bring you on, but if you want to be a part of it, you have to beat somebody. And I was like, well, I don't really know anything about teams, but I'll 1v1 you. Like, I don't care. And so I did it, and then I won. And my only gamer tag before that, it was stupidest gamer tag ever. It was random gamer with 4 7s, and the letters were substituted with numbers. It was like R4ND0M. I was dumb. And they was like, hey, so if you win, we'll change your name, but you can't be random gamer. I was like, why? And they was like, because that sounds dumb. And I was like, fuck you. And so then I won, and they gave it, and they was like, well, what do you want your name to be? It has to be XGN, whatever. And I was like, man, I don't know. And all I knew how to do was snipe. I love being able to snipe. I love being able to go and respawn, see my name in the kill feed. And I was originally, which I've said this before, and I don't want to offend them again, but I was originally thinking kill feed, and I was like, kill feed's kind of cool, but that's also kind of a dumb name. I know the reason why I say this, I know a lot of kill feeds, like gamer tags in this space. So I'm sorry, I apologize, but I just think kill feeds is a dumb name. And so I took the kill out of it and just called myself Feeds. And I was like, sure, like we'll just go with Feeds. And ever since 2016, that's when I've had my name.
Heck yeah, I love it. Plus, you get a whole bunch of feeds. I see them all over.
Yeah.
You start making everyone's name in the clan tags. It's great.
I know. I was trying to do something unique because, fast forward now. I know a lot of people see that I play War and stuff, and it's like I get standards. Like my name is Feeds. I fully understand it, but like I've just been in the sniping game for so long that I just do what I enjoy now. I don't really care about the standards aspect, and so now like, where I hit the 7-ons, like I start getting reactions like, oh, it's a 7-on war. And it's like, well, it's also yesterday with a clan tag named Zach. But I don't know. It's just something I like to do. It's just what makes me happy and makes me, have fun. And with me specifically, that's why I have 2 different channels now. My Twitter and my streams are for COD. And then I have a YouTube channel for beatbox reactions. And then I have the podcast here. So I do other things outside of that. I love Call of Duty. I'll always love COD. But in my opinion, it's just way, way too competitive for me to make content on. I personally don't enjoy it. I don't.
It's a tough space, man.
Yeah.
It's a very tough space, and that's where we're trying to find our niche too. Like it's very tough. You got to be unique, and everyone's a good gamer. Everyone's a sweat. Everyone's competitive. Everyone's, I don't know, they do the same stuff. Like, how do you be unique in this space? And that's the tough question you have to answer.
And that's exactly.
And
I'm not trying to like highlight myself just like on the topic of me in those channels. That's why I made it, because I want to be a lot more than just somebody who hits sick clips. And so That's why I do this podcast, because I want to make a positive change. That's why I do my beatbox reactions, because it's a if you haven't watched anything beatboxing related, I would highly recommend to go do that. That's something you can make so much content. I'm not even joking. There's thousands of professional videos that are just just the things that people can do is insane. And so that's why I made that, because that's kind of another passion. I love being able to react and be in that community.
Yeah.
But
What I love,
that's why I made those two.
yeah, what I love is you don't have all your eggs in one basket. Like that's the key. You're really unique. Like you have your stuff here, 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 and here. Whereas like, hey, back in my story, I had all my eggs in basketball, and then it didn't work out, and had to
Yeah,
scramble. What's
yeah,
next? So
definitely, yeah.
definitely kind of diversify your stuff is great.
Yeah. So on that topic of your background and my background and our names, the reason why I kind of bring that up is I think it's really important. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, but being able to name yourself whatever persona or character you're trying to make your online self, being able to make that and make it at the end of the day, when you finally get there, wherever you're trying to be, it's going to mean something, because you created something that means something to you. Even if, like, even for your instance, yours is mainly off of basketball, and you can't ever do it the way you want to anymore, but you always know that it was a part of you. And if you never had basketball, you would have never got into gaming. And it's just something that, like, it's a puzzle you don't put together until you get there. And so that's why I always like bringing that up. And I always encourage anybody, you don't have to, but at the end of the day, if you want my opinion, I do think that it's very empowering. If you have a name that you don't really care about, or just something that random that you made up, I promise you, if you change that into something that benefits to you or an aspect to yourself, it'll mean a lot more in the long run. It may seem corny and cringy now, but it'll mean a lot more in the long run. I mean, hell, I got Feed's mindset. That would have never happened if I wouldn't have hit clips.
Create your brand, and what do you want your brand to be? What direction do you want it to go? Once you like solve that, I mean, it's going to become your baby, and you'll hold on to it forever, and you're going to work at it forever to try to make it something. So
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
definitely important.
Yeah, definitely. So I appreciate being able to understand kind of that background of who you are, and I want to kind of start fast forwarding now back into current day. We talked about this a little bit about your hiccup, what you will, with your basketball and your transition to gaming and your kind of mental health break that you had to take, and your realization and stuff. So kind of a small little question I always do like to ask a lot of people, on the top. Mental health can go in a lot of different ways. But there's a lot of people that struggle with either taking breaks or switching up their content or finding out what they're going to do. There's not a lot of people in my streams. I can't make friends. I'm not good at this. What advice would you give for somebody that just kind of maybe lost their direction of where they want to go, and what advice would you give them to help them bounce back?
Yeah, first I'll say it's completely normal to hit that phase. Everyone hits it. I mean, you're not alone. But I call it the burnt out phase. It's when you push yourself to your max, and I don't know, maybe you've seen the results. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. Maybe you're frustrated. Maybe you don't know what's next. The way I always deal with that situation, again, normally I rely on family and friends or people that I
Mm-hmm.
talk to. But if I don't have them and it's just myself, I try to go back to the basics of like, okay, what makes me happy? How can I turn my frown upside down? How can I
Yeah.
get into like a new mindset? And I know we've talked about this a lot, but basketball was huge for me. My happy place is going to shoot. I'll go and I don't care what time it is. I'll go shoot. I'll plug in headphones, listen to whatever playlist, and just get in my own world.
Yeah.
Other people are different, but I definitely have to go outside. I'll go on a walk. I'll take my dog for a walk. Just find other ways to de-stress. What makes you happy? What will flip your mood around? That's kind of key. It's kind of changing your mood, because normally when you're in that space, you're kind of in a negative mindset.
Yeah.
You're burnt out. You're frustrated, right? So definitely take a break. Go back to your roots. Figure out why this is what you like to do back in the day, and go back to it. Like you were talking about how, like, yeah, people talk about war, like being not the competitive game mode to
Mm-hmm.
get feeds, right? But hey, it's what you love to do. And that's what gets you on the game to play and get those clips, right? So if you're on the other games where you're sweating your butt off on multiplayer, you're going to get frustrated, you're going to get off, and you're not going to get that feed or clip that you could have posted on Twitter,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know, you just kind of got to flip your mindset, go back to your roots, figure out what was fun, figure out what makes you happy, and then go from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, best way to do that, family and friends, talk to somebody, don't stay by yourself. because that's normally where stuff kind of hits the fan and you kind of go down further into a deeper hole. But yeah, figure out what makes you happy. That's kind of the key.
Yeah, most definitely. So on that topic, which I know some of it would probably be kind of the same answer, but for people that have been doing something for so long with their content and stuff, and it's not doing well. Not a lot of people come to their streams. They put all this time into editing, and the videos don't do well. What advice would you give for them to not get them burnt out and to kind of keep that flame of wanting to make content alive?
Yeah, good question too. So this goes more on like the analytics side, right? You're kind of not seeing the numbers that you want or expecting. Again, it kind of goes back to having that fun. What are you mainly doing it for? Are you doing it for the numbers, or are you doing it because it makes you happy and it's fun to do? I think once you solve that question, you'll put yourself at ease. But another thing I would say is kind of analyze your content. Go through your stuff. How can you improve every video that you did? How can you improve a stream? Did you just go live, or did you have a schedule of what you're going to do while you're live? Like I've seen people implement like a game show while they're doing competitive games or something like that, or do giveaways. Like how do you make your stream more interactive, get people involved, and make them want to be there? I don't know. Take a step back and really analyze your stuff. Like
Yeah.
rewatch your stream and be like, hey, would I want to be there watching if I'm watching this? Right? I don't know. You kind of got to break it down and find ways to improve just by watching your own stuff. The best way to do that is kind of watch other people who have made it maybe and see what they do. Yeah, it's kind of a different path, but see what's working for them. What do they do in their stream? What are they doing on their videos? Are they using emojis in their titles or certain hashtags? I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be, right? Learn from other people in the space. Reach out to people and be like, hey, I've tried it this way. Do you or watch my video or something like that? Can you add insight or improvements I can make? Like, I don't know, there's many ways to do it.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's kind of the most important factor. You had kind of didn't mention the direct wording, but researching on that aspect. I feel like that is definitely the most underrated thing for content that nobody does. And and it's I'm not trying to say this as like an ego perspective because I don't. There's been tons of times that I should have researched on something and I didn't. But something that you had mentioned just a little bit there about watching your own stream back, a lot of people get in this mindset and they're like, oh, like I hate my voice. I hate myself. And it's like, well, if you hate yourself, why do you stream? Because you're streaming yourself. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But, on that topic, I just wanted to pick your brain just for a second on that to, why is it so important for somebody to watch their streams back? Because a lot of people could get in that mindset and be like, oh, it's stupid. Just like I said, I don't like myself. Oh, it's stupid. It's time consuming. Like, why would I want to watch me? I'm trying to get other people to watch me. Like people that are in that mindset, what's your take on that?
Yeah, this is gonna kind of sound brutal, but truth is kind of brutal here. It's like I said, when you watch your stream and you really watch it, like analyze yourself, just ask yourself, would you want to be here watching it? Are you engaged? Like, do you make the viewer, I don't know, want to be here and
Yeah.
want to talk to you, right? That's the main thing. But yeah, it's kind of brutal. Like I've watched my streams and there's times where I'll be silent for 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, I wouldn't want to watch this either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So big key. Yeah, huge part about research. You got to go and research the people in the space that are doing it well or succeeding because, hey, what they're doing is working. So you might want to use what they're working, but yeah, you got to tailor it towards you and your brand. So obviously make it different. Don't just kind of copy them, but see what they're doing that works and kind of, I don't know, tailor it towards your stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. And I hope that, which I should have said this earlier, but, obviously anybody that's watching, I hope anything, any of this applies to you that can help you and give you any tips and stuff. Last question I want to ask on this topic is about networking. To you, what do you define as networking and why is it so important for other creators to understand?
Define as networking. As far as a definition, it's kind of, I don't know how I want to word
Yeah, I
this.
mean it's different for everybody, but I just like hearing everybody's perspectives on it.
I see the way I would say networking is just connecting into another group or like individual. Just like you're trying to meet somebody, get into their group, and then from their group you meet other connections, and it's just like a branch of. It's going to sound weird, but networks, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of like inserting yourself into another group and then from that group you meet more people, and then so on and so forth. That's the way I would describe it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I think that's definitely a big important factor that kind of leads me into my last topic of networking and supporting. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there that's kind of lost that support factor. I mean, obviously the meta is support for support, follow for follow, blah 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 blah. But I feel like that's a big issue. Is there's a lot of genuine credit, and they may not even realize it. That's one credibility I'll give to a lot of people. There's a lot of people that get caught up in the moment. They don't realize that they're maybe being rude, or maybe somebody has popped into your stream 30, 40 times and you've not seen them once. At the end of the day, you're not supposed to expect anything from somebody, but in your opinion, why is it so important to spend some time of your day supporting other people than just you and your content?
Um, One, it's like this. The thing I love about this space is meeting people and learning their story, kind of like what we're doing here, right? Like before this conversation, me and you have never spoken
Mm-hmm.
before. So it's just nice to get to know you and your story. And I like learning where people come from. So that's what it is for me. I mean, obviously, yeah, you get the benefit of, hey, they're supporting you and building your brand just like you're supporting them and building their brand. But that's the kind of the key I've seen. What works in this space to kind of make it is you have to insert yourself into other people's communities and learn what they're doing, and then learn from other people in their chats and stuff like that, and just network, become friends. Like
Yeah.
you'd be surprised, like the communities that you join, like the friends you make out of it, like the stories you hear from it, where they came from. It's really crazy, like the
Yeah.
people you meet. I'll say this, and you probably know it from experience too. The
Mhm.
people you meet and their stories, it's just wild.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the term, every it's such a small world, and it's like a lot of people kind of overlook that factor, but like it's so crazy, to just know other people you connect with, and you can meet them later on down the road, or
Mm.
and I always say this, I always say that whoever you're trying to impress, or whatever viewer you're trying to get and be friends with, you don't know who's going to be your next best friend. They could be somebody really big in business. They could be somebody really big in the game that you play. Whatever the case may be, it could be a life changing factor for you. But
Wait.
if you do not be the creator that you're trying to be at that time, you could miss out on that window or on that open
Mhm.
door. And it's very important for you to know whether you post that piece of content or you go live, or I mean, heck, even professionalism, tweeting that tweet. It is so important to be professional in every aspect
Mhm.
that you can, because you don't know who's watching.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, like you said, you don't know what that connection can do for you too, or what you can do for them and change their life. Like it could be, they could get you an interview to a job. They could, I don't know, help you with the money situation, or they're just a support, just to be a friend, like someone to lean on. Like, I don't know, it could be a whole bunch of different factors, but you never know what that connection could provide and support for you, and like vice versa.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, so that pretty much wraps up about everything that I got for us today. Last or one more before this question. Is there any kind of last words you want to say to anybody watching? Any tips or advice that you could give anybody?
Just remember why you do this. Remember why you got into it, what keeps you going, what's fun about it. If you stick to that, I mean, you're going to have so much fun in this space. But the second you kind of worry about numbers and monetization and stuff, and that's where you're going to get in these ruts and stuff's going to hit the fan. So, but just stick to these tips that we've given in this podcast, and you should do fine. I mean, always come back to it. Always learn to improve your own stuff. But just remember why it was fun. That's kind of the key here. Why we do it.
Yep, I agree. So before we end off here, is there any last words or anything that you have that's exciting that you have coming up you want to share with anybody?
So exciting! I'll just say some milestones. I've been juiced about it. I've been running around the house because we've all been living together, this group, for about a little over a year now, and we hadn't really been making content. Everyone was kind of trying to figure out financial situations or dealing with
Mm-hmm.
some stuff. But we've done what, 22 days straight of a short. So proud of these guys for that.
Nice.
We've hit almost 100,000 views in 2 months, so that's kind of cool. If we kind of want to look at an analytics factor,
Right.
but yeah, just proud of these guys. And then what's on tap for us with the Stream House? We are in the works of a Call of Duty montage. I don't know when
Nice.
the release date is coming up yet, but we're in the works on it. Everyone's kind of putting their clips together. We have a bunch of trick shots as well, so we're trying to do maybe a trick shot montage on the side of an actual like different Call of Duty montage. So maybe a couple here in the works, but yeah, a lot of stuff coming for Streamhouse, and we're excited over here.
Yeah, definitely. Well, of course, just like I said in the beginning, man, I really do appreciate your time being able to be here today. Please go check out Lo. His Twitter handle is right below his head. You check in the links, check him out. Also, check out the Streamhouse because he is now a part of the Streamhouse. That is his content. So please go support him with your utmost support. And again, Lo, I really do appreciate you being here today. It means a lot to just be able to sit down here and let me kind of get to know you and understand you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Feeds. Like I said, this has been fun. It's been great meeting you. Now it's great to put a name to the title now on Twitter. So, but yeah, if you ever want to play games, let me know. I'm always on. Normally late nights. That's when our whole house is on normally. So just let us know and we'll hop into some games. But yeah, what he said with Streamhouse, it's a lot of my content, but it's all the house content too.
Right.
Katz has been posting a lot of videos. Mainly Zach as well. What you do in Kona. Mitch has had a couple of trick shots on there too. Tuna's getting into it. So it's been a lot of fun. It's everyone in the house's content. So excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, definitely. That's sick. And who knows? Maybe we'll have a couple more of them on this podcast here soon. It'd be sick.
Heck yeah. Maybe we'll all be out in the podcast room so you can have all of us at once.
Yeah, that would be crazy. So yeah, but I appreciate everybody watching again. This is episode 34. I think I just did 2 today, so my numbers may be off. But I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. My name is Feeds.
Have a good one, everybody.
Peace.